yeah, because I feel like we're just like everybody else, and everyone. I feel like the more people hear the stories of people conquering and going that extra step, the more they'll be able to do it. I get people, and you
That's it.
probably do too, because I feel like you've done some pretty good work with yourself. But I get messages every once in a while privately where people say things like, I can't believe that you just up and left Ontario and moved to the East Coast, or you're an inspiration to me, or I can't believe the things that you do. And it's like you just go about doing your life thinking nobody's even paying attention.
Yeah, and then all
And
of a sudden,
then
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's crazy.
yeah, because I know that I'm joined
Hi.
today with Cameron Tate, and if you just want to give me a little bit about, I know you do music stuff and videos and that kind of thing, but if you just want to give me the brief story of Cameron Tate.
Yeah, I'm 35 years old. Canadian, born on the west side of in Calgary. Just been a lyricist pretty much my whole life. I always came from music. My grandpa used to play the harmonica and was really good at it. And so I learned instruments throughout the time and growing up. And I used to play guitar and all that, but then I got into production in about 2020 when COVID hit, kind of stole me away from that, and it was a big distraction. So it helped me get through a lot of life and express myself.
Mm,
And then once I further got into production, I started to notice a little bit of a thing about positivity. So I kind of threw that out there. And for the last 3, 4 years, I've been really focusing on just being a motivational speaker and,
mm.
being there for others. And yeah.
Yeah. So for me,
Hmm.
my reinvention came from realizing I had to get rid of some thinking. I had to get rid of some survival mode thinking. What about you?
Yeah, same. Like there was a lot of pollution in my mind for quite a while. And like I grew up, in a dysfunctional family. It was abusive and so on and so
Mm,
forth. So, a lot of my childhood was just being grounded a lot and stuff like
mm,
that. So, going through that kind of trauma as a young child and then growing up with my mother getting really sick and having to look after her while family betrayed her a bit. And
mm,
now I'm dealing with that myself in the last little bit. But I've learned to accept it for what it is and not to literally cause internal suicide. And that's what I used
mm.
to do a lot of the times, create internal suicide from a lot of things that would happen because all I would do is just go to my room and then, over contemplate everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's about 5 years ago, I guess it'd be 2018. A really good friend of mine who I've known since I was 3 years old. We pretty much called ourselves brothers. He passed away, and
Mm,
that really stole me away from a lot of things because we were making music together. We were
mm,
doing a lot together, hanging out every day. Plus, we were friends since like we were three, right? So
mm,
it was a huge loss on my take, and it kind of stole me away from a lot of everything I was working so hard on. And I
mm.
realized that in about 2020, I decided to slow down everything. I started to go within a lot more and take what it is I've learned throughout the years and survival mode, like you said,
Mm.
and actually put those ideas to practice rather than just dwelling on them and not doing anything with them. And then that's when I came with the music and yeah.
Creativity and expressing your creativity is a huge thing. And what I'm going to say, I think everyone who listens to music, I have to think they would be able to agree with me on this. It's a terrible thing to say, but it's the truth.
Hmm.
When musicians are suffering, their music is the best.
Yeah.
Jan Arden,
Yeah.
who's Jagged Little Pill, what's her name? Shoot, long hair, Jagged Little Pill. I can't think of her name. You know what I mean? Alanis Morissette.
Oh, Linus,
Um,
yes, yes, sorry.
so it's
Yeah.
funny. So when I went and saw Jan Arden when she was miserable, and she was fantastic. She
Hmm.
did little speaking things in between her songs, which were hilarious. And then she found love. Went and saw her again. It's like, it's
Yeah,
not
you
the
messed up there.
best. But
Yeah.
it's like, the sad thing is musicians do the best stuff, and I think that is working all their stuff out, and they have that
It is, yeah.
as yeah, as a
It's freedom of
primary thing.
expression, right? It's
It's
a
a
freedom of
yeah,
expression of your emotions and getting within them. And like any
yeah,
form of creativity is like that. That's why art is so beautiful, but also
yeah,
so profound because of how people express themselves. Like we all have these talents. Some of them are hidden, some of them we haven't even found yet, right? Like this is my first podcast I've ever done in my life. And I'm, a little bit nervous, but at the same time, is this is how we grow. This is why we
yeah,
want to set that mindset, right?
yeah.
If you want to set your mind for success, well, you got to have a successful mindset, right? And
Well, and they say too that you'll lose a lot of people
yeah,
when you strive for success, and that's okay. I What I wanted to dive into today was the how did you go about reinventing yourself? Was there anyone that motivated you? Was there anyone that you listened to? Was there ways that you did that? I have my story and I'll be happy to share that as well. But what was it that, how did you reinvent yourself? Or what was the mode to get your thinking to change?
I just woke up one day and realized, like I said before, about the internal suicide, and I didn't want to
Mm,
commit that anymore. I wanted to, my brother wouldn't want me to see me, suffer, I guess, in a sense.
mm,
I don't like that word, but, see me suffer, not do anything with everything we
mm,
worked hard on. Like, he wanted me to
mm,
be as an individual and take everything that he taught me and then put it out there, right? Like, he was one of the best listeners, but I'm also a great listener and someone that
mm,
you can talk to. So that's where I put the two together. It's like, okay, you know what? I got to stop this. I got to wake up. I got to start doing stuff about myself. And it wasn't so much about the motivation, is that I believe that we have to get going first in order to be motivated, not the other way
mm.
around. Because once we do start getting going, we can start actually feeling that motivation come to us.
It's true.
And right?
It's true. Society, I don't know if it's your upbringing, because there's four girls in my family, and I have to say, all four of us, if you had us write down our life story, it would look like we grew up in four different houses. And it's so funny to me
Ah,
what is nature versus nurture. What why my bounce back is different than my sister's, and so on. And your bounce back, like you say, we could have sat there and wallowed in self pity, but it was the whole taking charge. No, I'm not going
accountability.
to accountability. I'm not going to let this determine me. I'm going
Yeah.
to beat it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. We
Yeah.
can't dwell on things that are out of our control. Like, this is how people want to go about their lives. Let them. That's a
Mm,
huge thing that's going on in the world right now. Is that we have to let people do what they want to do, and then allow us to do what it is what we want to do. Right?
yeah. Yeah.
It's just,
I'm not, I'll say I'm not good at that. I'm good at letting
yeah.
people do what they want to do, but I really wish people would take more agency over their life, and
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
do
Be more
things.
accountable. That's what I look at it.
Be accountable, but also create the story that they want. And for me, it's like you can. So back to my whole stinky thinking of my earlier years as owning my business. I posted this on Facebook once, and it's an indication of what you set your mind to is what you will see. And I think that that's one of the biggest things right now, especially because of all the exterior stuff that is demanding our attention, and it's all negative, that I
Mm-hmm.
can't let any of that in, because I know what's going on out there, but I can't stay there. So my little silly little story. We lived in the beaches. My sisters and I lived in the beaches area of Toronto, and it's known for street parking. Like, you can own $1 million house, but you generally don't have a driveway or a garage. It's always a lot of street parking. So that's the main part of life there. And I was with my sister Janine, and so she's like, "Oh, blah blah, we're going here." And I said, "I never get a parking space on Queen Street." She's like, "I always do." And it wasn't for many years that it clicked with me. It's like, of course I never get a parking spot. I'm telling the world I'm never getting a parking spot. I told the universe I never get a parking spot, and it agreed. And she
Yeah.
always did get a parking spot. And so for me, it was like, right, I always get a parking spot. So now everything, I really, and I don't know, this is not I don't know if I'm a master manifester or if I'm very intuitive, because I can ask for things or tell the universe where I want to go, how I want things to go, and the next thing I know, it's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it is, yeah, yeah, I'm extremely intuitive, or if I am creating my life.
You probably could be both because of that awareness, right? The
Yeah.
awareness is allowing the manifestations to happen because of how intuitive you are with yourself and what's happening around you.
So I moved to Nova Scotia in 2022, and when I got there, the house was uninhabitable. So I got a rental apartment, and then I ended up taking a job up here in New Brunswick. I have not resonated with New Brunswick, and I'm going to tell you, and this probably isn't the best thing, but I kind of wallowed in self pity for this last year. I did, I was trying to make it work. I was trying to be positive,
Hmm.
but it's funny how you kind of really got to train yourself.
You
And I
do.
did allow myself. I ended up spraining my ankle and blah blah blah. Um, it was not my best year, and I had to allow myself that. I had to allow myself. It's like, all right, do what you need to do your self care right now, and One of these
Hmm.
days you'll have to pull up your bootstraps. And it's funny when I said when I
Yeah.
started. So September, I stopped doing the job that I came up here for, and so then I went right back into going to the lake, positive affirmations, gratitude, and envisioning the life that I wanted to have and
Hmm.
what I wanted to do. So for me, I don't know my limitations. So I told the universe if I had $60 million in the bank, what would I be doing right? What would I want my life to look like? And it is having a podcast, writing a book, doing woodworking, and furniture refinishing. So those were the things I told the universe. That's my want list.
Hmm.
Even if I never had to work for money, these are the things I want to do. So now I'm moving into a house in Nova Scotia that has a heated workshop that I can do my woodworking in. And
Love
so
it.
I started the podcast. I've had this podcast in my head for 2 years, and it was
Wow.
just not so much the fear of failure, but more the fear of ridicule um, about starting it. It's like, and it's funny. So I did a short. We're going way off topic. I did a short
It's
because
okay.
YouTube wants the shorts. I have to have certain criteria to have it be um, like a professional mode where it's monetized. And
Hmm.
so some of them is I have to create shorts, and so the shorts go out to a broader audience than anyone who subscribed, or I'm not really suggested to many people because I'm just so small, right?
Yeah.
But the short, and someone responded back like, "Who are you?"
Where
And
did
it's
you
not,
come from?
yeah, like who the hell are you? Why do I care? I was actually talking about I'd invited you to come on to do my this podcast on
Hmm.
reinventing yourself,
Yeah,
and
thank
someone's
you.
like, "Who are you?" And it was funny because it's like, yeah, that's a legitimate question. It kind of was a bit of a gut punch. It's like, I know I have no right to start a podcast. I'm nobody. But then I thought, there's some people out there with like 2.5 million followers, and they're just nobody. Like, yeah, because I feel like we're just like everybody else, and everyone. I feel
Hmm.
like the more people hear the stories of people conquering and going that extra step, the more they'll be able to do it. I get people, and you
That's it.
probably do too, because you've I feel like you've done some pretty good work with yourself. But I get messages every once in a while privately where people say things like, I can't believe that you just up and left Ontario and moved to the East
Mhm.
Coast, or you're an inspiration to me, or I can't believe the things that you do. And it's like you just go about doing your life
That's
thinking
it.
nobody's even paying attention.
Yeah, and then all
And
of a
then
sudden, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, because I know it's true. And I think the difference between people who can move past and move forward and is that we can take these lessons, and every down is still a win, because there's always something to be learned.
That's it.
There's and yeah, how fast you bounce back from what took you out at the knees, kind of thing. Is you write your affirmations on what you've learned, that you're keeping up with the practice, and how resilient you are in bouncing
Hmm.
back from that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. That's it. And
Yeah.
that's like because how you asked before about where I want to go with all this. Well,
Mm,
I've actually thought about a podcast too for the last couple of years, and I'm probably going to start. Well, not probably, but aiming to start it at least around spring next year.
mm,
I got my logo all made. I didn't make it myself, but
mm.
what I want to do eventually is actually take all this stuff and just just become a public figure in a sense where I can
Mm.
just be there for others because now I've
Yeah.
learned so much about myself. Like I want to be masterful on the inside, or sorry, I want to be a master on the inside, but be masterful externally because I always want to learn,
Yeah.
right? But
Me
once I
too.
get with it, yeah, right. I want to be, I want to be master on the inside of what I can overcome, which is the wisdom, and then have all that knowledge to be masterful because I always want to learn.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I want to go with this. Like it's infinite at this point. Like you never know
Mm.
what's going to happen or what's going to come next.
What are some of the things that you do to push that out of your head? Or is it easy, or is it hard for you? Do you have to constantly remind yourself? Is there any downtime that you have on any given day that you can work on
Yeah, for
these
sure.
kind
Like
of stuff?
I built a routine,
Mm.
like a pretty strong one. I'm usually up. For a while there, before my injury about 3 weeks ago, I was getting up at 5 o'clock every morning. And then I would sit with myself for 10 minutes, right? First thing I get up in the morning, I would sit there with myself and close my eyes for 10 minutes and tell myself that today's going to be a wonderful day and what I'm
Mm.
grateful for. And then I
Mm-hmm.
go have my coffee, I go through, right? All that same routine all the time. And then I get to work and then just build it and then come home. But at nighttime, what I would do is always sit with myself for 10 minutes again at night before I go to sleep and close my eyes and just be there. I also go for walks every day. So
Mm.
what I'm saying is what I've built is a routine to help me understand that I got to be alone for at least 10 minutes, right? With
Mm-hmm.
myself to understand I am grateful today. This has been an amazing day.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm grateful for the day that's about to begin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Before I never used to do that. I never got into such routines or anything like that because, it's not a successful mindset, right?
Mm.
You want to be up before everybody else because it's actually very calm. It's very beautiful, and you can, see the day starting, and that's what
Yeah.
gets me going, right? Is to see the day starting. It's like, wow, I can't wait to get going myself.
It's true. They say that really in the morning and at night. So yes, set yourself up in the morning with your gratitude and positive affirmations, and then at nighttime again, with your gratitude of what you accomplished,
Yeah.
how successful your day was, and all those
There's
kinds of
also
things.
another thing I like to do too is go throughout my day of how I've interacted with others and
Mm,
where I went wrong with how I interacted with them because there are times where we change our tone a little bit or we might be snappy or something like that. And I like to visualize those
yeah.
because then I can go back to what I can the next day or if I have an interaction with someone else in the same form and not allow that to really affect
Mm,
the conversation, right? And
that's a big one. Yeah.
yeah, it is because I know because a lot of the time we're always so busy in a sense, but the way I look
Mm,
at it is action and discipline.
mm. Let's see what else. So for me, like I said about the meditating and stuff, and it hasn't been. It's been easy, but it hasn't been easy. There, like I said, certainly are times when it's it's I think striving to be your best is not an easy thing. But it feels like once you set your mind to it,
Mm.
there's no going back. And you can get knocked down,
Yeah,
but there's no way you're staying there.
no, exactly. Yeah,
And
once, yeah.
so that's what I don't. And I don't know, I don't know if everybody feels that way, if everybody's mindset's the same, or are there people that don't even try to set the bar even a little bit higher. I feel like I try to set the bar, like I said before, I don't know my limitations. So
Hmm.
I don't know where the bar should be set.
Yeah,
If you said to me, well, you can't be a brain surgeon, you can't prove it, but it would be like, it's not to say I can't go to school and be a brain surgeon. So I mean, I can't cut your skull open today, but I
no.
don't doubt that I don't doubt that I
What
wouldn't be
makes you
able
think
to
that you
if
won't
I
be able to? Exactly. Yeah.
right. So by when I say it, if someone said challenge me with that, when I said I don't know my limitations, well, you can't be a brain surgeon. It's like, but I don't know that I can't.
Yeah. And
I
how
know I
do you
can't
know
do
that
it
I
today.
can since I
Right.
haven't tried?
Right. I
Or
can't do
even
it
gone with it.
today, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that I don't know that I could never be it, and I attribute that my self worth and my self confidence and my lack of limitations. I said that that's from my father. I could do
Hmm.
no wrong in my dad's eyes. The sun rose and set on me from my father. Ballet. He's like, oh, you could be a prima ballerina, and then I started horseback riding. He's like, oh, you could be an Olympic equestrian. I mean, he was always my biggest champion, and for me, that has given me a perspective that I think is a lot different than a lot of women. I know some women who are extremely well educated and have fantastic jobs,
Hmm.
but still have very low self esteem.
Yeah, I've noticed that with you're right. It's crazy. Like it's like their mindsets, is just stagnant.
Right. And that's what I always find to be such a question that I don't understand that. It's like,
Yeah.
how can you just accept mediocrity? There's so much out there for
Yeah,
everybody.
there is. Especially for
Yeah.
yourself. Like there's like everything is learning, 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 learning. Like it's infinite. And that's just what I used to with my limits, right? I know my limits are limitless, but I tried to do different steps of goals. So like 1 week goals and then 1 month goals and then
Mm,
6 month goals and then 1 year and then 5 year, right? I
nice.
try to break it down into that form. And those little goals can be accomplished. And then those little goals become the bigger goals in the end.
Another story about how these are all my little stories that I have. When you start recognizing that the universe does have your back and the universe wants nothing but you for you to succeed, when you recognize that, some of the little things that happen in your life, then you start to recognize as being divine.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I don't
for
know how many
sure.
years ago this was. I
Yeah.
I was renting a house, and I was short, a little bit short for my rent for that particular month, and I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And I don't remember, it wasn't even a lot of money, but it's like, where am I going to get this money from? And I had one of those trailer things that you put on the back, you put a bumper hitch in the back, and it's got like a platform and you can put your luggage on it. I had that on for sale on Facebook for
Mm.
a few months. And someone that day said, I'm moving out to Alberta. I want to buy that. I'll send you an e-transfer today. It's like,
Wow.
holy shit. I just told the universe I needed money for my rent. And here it came.
There
So
again, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
when you recognize that the universe has your back and you live your life like everything is rigged in your favor, then it is rigged in your favor. If you live
yeah,
your life that everything is against you, you won't be
that's it.
disappointed. It will be
Y-
against you. I feel like we've got this one life, and you really got to make the best of it.
Yeah.
I just feel like I wasn't put here for mediocrity, not that I'm going to be, Elon Musk or anything,
No.
but
No.
just living my, navigating and living my best life is really, I think everyone should be striving for that.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think 2024 year will be that for many of us because we're done with the improper mindset and we want to create new habits and rituals.
Do you think there was anything in the way that things went down the last couple of years that sent people into that trajectory of trying to live more positively and have a better, more positive mindset? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
100%. Yeah, I agree. Because like a lot of us were isolated and none of us have
mm,
really been isolated before. So that's a huge new experience for a lot of people that they never
yeah,
even thought they would ever encounter, right?
yeah,
So being alone and going through that process of so much doubt, so much shame, guilt, and all these different self-realizations, all in a couple of years, brought us out to be able to actually overcome and then bring people to our tribe all throughout the
yes,
world now and
yeah.
create this whole collective society.
Those are the things that make a person whole. I feel like there's so many people that look to external things
Hmm.
for fulfillment and
Yeah, validity.
validity, that really, that only brings codependency and
Yeah,
unhappiness,
it
when
does.
you are have expectation that someone is never going to meet, right?
Yeah,
And
any
that
expectation.
you have to meet them all on your own, and once you do and you can, then you can come into anything,
Mhm.
and be good, or good if it is or not. It's like, I'm good if it is, I'm good if it's not. I'm still me, and I'm still going to do my best thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. Yeah, you have to, right? And you
yeah,
look at what you're doing with what you've manifested, and this is taking years, but at the same time, it's happening right before you because you've already, you believed in it so much that you gave it away out to the universe, and
yeah,
then you go on about your life without expecting
yeah.
anything, right? It's,
Yeah, it's something that I do. It's funny when I go to the lake every day. Uh, Honestly, the amount of love energy that's at the lake is just insane. It
it's
is.
pure.
I can't do the same when I'm inside the house.
No.
I feel like being out and sitting on the beach, and with the water and the trees and the nature and stuff. I'm gonna have a better spot in Nova Scotia, but I just, honestly, you don't feel like there's, oh, did I leave the kettle on, or oh, no, no, like there's not the noise distractions that can happen when you're
That's it.
in your own spot, and it's just so much more profound for me when I'm out there. I noticed a difference in my life when I came up to New Brunswick and I didn't have access. I moved up in January, and I
Okay.
didn't know what anything was, where anything was. I didn't even know, it was just nothing but snow here when I moved up. And so everything was covered in snow and I didn't even know what was around. So there was many months where I was just, yeah, going to
Wow.
work, coming home. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know.
Not
And it's
living
so
my best
easy to
life.
get back in that stupid routine too.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy how fast,
Yeah.
because it's just that program self coming back and stealing you away
Hmm.
from what it is that you've overcome. And but once you realize it, it starts happening quicker because I've been noticing so many patterns and like 2 year patterns, and that's what I woke up to this morning. And I was like, no, this gotta stop. These patterns need to go
Mm,
away. And the only way for me to do that, and like this is another mindset way of setting your mind up for habits and rituals. Change what it is that keeps reoccurring and see where
yeah.
it goes with that.
So what's next for Cameron?
What's next for me? I'm just going to, I don't know, actually, to be honest, Jennifer. I actually do want to travel next year. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Actually, I
Mm,
do want to travel next year. I want to go backpack Central and South America. So, um,
wow.
I would like to do that. Yeah, I want to start in Costa Rica, and then I want to make my way to Nicaragua and Venezuela. Yeah, I really want to do that because I want to be part of that culture because I really love that whole ancient history and stuff like that, and the
Yeah.
Peruvian culture and like the ayahuasca and stuff. It's always been
Mm.
such a fascinating
Yeah.
um,
Have you ever
experience
done
of mine that
ayahuasca?
no, but I do. That's why I want to go to Costa Rica because I found some pretty cool stuff about
Oh.
that, right? So
Yeah.
because
Do
eventually
you?
yeah, because eventually my long-term goal is actually to go and buy some land and
Mm.
build property out in BC
Oh.
and just be someone and then build like a little sanctuary in a sense and live off the land
Mm.
and then this to be a healer for others. So I want to get lots of experience in before I can
Yeah.
start, putting all this stuff to practice, right? So everything that I'm doing right now on social media with building the following and all that stuff and
Mm.
understanding so different other people's opinions or even experiences and thoughts and feelings
Mm.
towards their life and how we can connect with that it's really helping me grow, right? It's really helping me become my best, right?
Mm.
All of you have helped me become my best, right? If it wasn't for all of you, and I'm pretty sure you say the same thing, that if it wasn't for all of us being this collective way,
Yeah.
there'd be no chance of us to explore what it is that we would like in life, you know?
It's so true. I guess it's a mindset as well. The fear of I do have a fear of the unknown, and I
Hmm.
have to say, moving back down to Nova Scotia, there is a bit of that fear creeping back in, and knowing full well that I always land on my bloody feet,
You
knowing
do,
full well that the universe constantly is there supporting me. How can
yeah,
I ever second guess anything? But it just seems to be human nature. It's like
yeah.
taking that risk and jumping in with both feet.
I don't want to be in Calgary anymore. I've been here for 35 years. I want to go and
Mm,
actually explore a lot more. Like I want to go out. I also do want to come to Ontario next spring. So I do
yeah.
want to get out there. I do want to go meet a lot of the people I've met online because it'd be
Well,
really
that's what
cool
I
to get.
feel. And that's why I moved to California when I was 25. I did have a wild hair up my ass. And I just feel like that's when you got to do that stuff. You
Hmm.
got to do that when you're young, whatever that wild hair up your ass is, you got to do it.
Yeah,
Because there's not going to be a better time. You got to get that stuff out of your system.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's, I just don't want to have regrets. It's like, it's,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to go away peacefully, internally too.
Yeah, wrestle with some, I'll call them regrets, but
Hmm.
just things in my past that um, probably could have been, you're doing the best you can with what the information you have at the time.
Yeah,
And so forgiving yourself for doing things that you might do differently today. I think that's kind of some of the harder things that I've had to push through. It's funny because you shit on me, I don't care. I forgive everybody for any ills, but forgiving myself, cranky Moses, that's the hard one, right?
it is. It can be. Yeah,
I
you
think it,
know.
I
Yeah.
don't, I've had some challenges, and it's like, yeah, you're all doing the best you can at any given time. No worries. But for me, it's like, Jennifer, you got to do, and well, especially that whole where we go one, we go all thing, where forgiving myself, forgiving everyone, I forgive myself. But why have I not forgiven myself? Does that mean I haven't forgiven everybody? So I really had to work hard this past summer with um, actually truly forgiving myself
Hmm.
not doing some things that maybe I should have or could have, or yeah, just nothing major, but just
Nope.
familial stuff, just stuff that with my mom and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. It was even I didn't even it was not even intentionally on Mother's Day, but I was at the lake and I put on this shamanic drum music, and I actually invited my mom, my grandma, and my sister, who I don't speak to come and have a conversation. And yeah, so that was good. Um, but yeah, doing a lot of forgiving. That's of yourself and the stuff
It
that you've
is. It's a
carried
key
around.
factor too.
It is.
It is a key factor. Like unconditional self forgiveness is so important,
It really
right?
is.
Letting go of that. Like I've done that a few times in the last 3 weeks, actually, with family and my sister
Mm,
and a few other people. And it feels so much stress is off my shoulders because I know they're only going to do this what they know. And I can't
mm,
sit here and start blaming the whole world and everyone else around me for the things that I'm still allowing and tolerating, which now
mm,
I forgive myself for that. I forgive myself for tolerating the abuse. I forgive myself for going back thinking things will change with the people, right?
yeah.
Where now that's that expectation again. So now I'm bringing
Yeah.
that back, that self worthiness back to me by that unconditional self forgiveness and knowing that it's okay. I have to accept that family's not here, and they may never not be
Mm,
here again. And but I'm here, right? I'm
yeah.
here in this moment right now, and
Yeah.
that's what matters.
And again, forgiving. Um, my mother and I didn't have a great relationship. And
Mhm.
uh, she left when I was 13, for four girls, and she left. And that caused a lot of turmoil for my dad. And so there was a lot of resentment for me to her because I was daddy's little girl and I saw how that devastated him. And again, everyone's doing the best they can. No blame, no fault. I can't even imagine how that hard that was for her to do that. But it did come with, um, it left some scars. And they're benign, they're not major, but it's really kind of crazy how even the littlest things, wow, they'll come back to bite you in the ass. they say
Yeah.
they say
Yeah.
too that your childhood traumas will manifest in relationships,
They
and
do
that
all the time. Like if, and I know, I know that from firsthand because I realized I was dating a lot of different women, but in the same body. Sorry, a lot of the same women, but different bodies.
oh yeah, yeah,
I have a lot of betrayal and abandonment wounds, right?
mm,
I was just talking about, right? So I've noticed that if I'm sharing this abandonment wound within myself, and then I'm allowing this attraction to another person who has abandonment wound, now we start to trauma bond, and that trauma bonding ends up goes
yes,
into betrayal and then humiliation
yeah,
and injustice, and then we start
yeah,
hurting each other.
yeah,
And I've known that toxic trait is not who I am, but yeah, that's
yeah.
what I'm attracting because I'm internalizing and personalizing all this abandonment.
So you should, if you, I listen to audiobooks a lot because it just allows me to kind of do things if I'm driving. Got a couple hours to listen to a book or something. One of the books that is a really good one is that Gabor Mate, The Myth of Normal.
Hmm.
It's a really good book.
I'll have to check that one out because I do love him. He's great.
Yeah, it was a very good book. I've listened to it, I think, 3 times now.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Wow,
a
that's
bookaholic.
amazing. Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read quite a bit too. That's another thing. But you don't need self-help books. So you just need action and discipline. I strongly believe action and discipline goes a lot further for creating a mind state or a mindset, right? You can read all the self-help books you like, but you got to put that stuff to action and then discipline yourself
Oh,
based off that, you
absolutely.
know?
Absolutely. I find that although the Gabor Mate book isn't really a self-help book, none of the books I've read
Okay.
really are self-help books. Um, but what I read more is how the brain functions, how you
Yeah,
think,
that's what I like too.
how you are, um, like I've got on my book list, there is a good, I can't even think of the names of them now, but they are mostly about, um, the personality parts of your brain, and everyone has those four personality types, and how your circumstances dictate which part you're utilizing.
That's right. Like
And
your
that
prefrontal cortex and all that. It's
I
amazing. I've actually read books on that too.
I found that to be quite fascinating too. And because when I owned my business, I was quite a shark. But it was only, again, it put me in a position where I was, I'll say, fighting, but your suppliers, my beef shipment didn't come. Like there was always something you had to fight for. And so it made me a person. Kind of a funny story. I got divorced when I owned my business, and I did that eHarmony thing where you do the personality test and they match you up. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I think they didn't so much as say this, but I didn't really get a lot of hits. And I think because I was still at the height of my, like, this woman's going to rip your face off, like.
Yeah, it's aggression.
So they're probably like, girl, we got nothing for you. But it made me someone
Some
who
insight.
I'm not normally. And it was not until, but again, you do what you have to do in order to live your life, in order to do what you need to do
Yeah.
to get to the next day, kind of thing. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until I was very far removed from it that I realized that I was that person who was not me. It's not the way I am. I'm more that, like, la 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 la, and just being that shark made me someone who I didn't even like.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, there's some times where I feel that too, like I become someone I don't even like, or even in the past, but
Hmm.
like I'm just learn it's so important just to learn to become humble and
Come humble,
not take
yes.
and to not take things so personally,
Yeah.
right? Society and so many people take things so personally and so out of context and make it all about themselves and never about the situation.
Yeah. But I mean, it is true. And why do we keep attracting those people? But I always say, when people have a problem with me, it's what they've identified in themselves. I tend to be quite a bit of a mirror for people. And I
Hmm.
think that's why I agitate a lot of people, because I mirror
Yeah,
aspects
it's
of them that
truth.
they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it leads me on a solitary life, that's for sure.
I've been single for 6 years, and I'm coming to the point where it doesn't matter to me about a relationship,
Yeah.
right? It
But
just more so matters to me about just building what it is
we,
that I've been neglecting and putting off and
we're
ignoring.
heading off topic on that, but that
Yeah.
is one of the fascinating aspects of today. And you're young, but no, I don't have my stats, but men from 18 to 34,
Hmm.
um, I think 50% of them haven't had sex in a year, and 80% don't have any intention of having a relationship. And I mean that,
Wow,
yeah, there's
those
some
are high stats.
pretty alarming stats. And I, I mean that for me, it's like it doesn't speak well for with the future. It's not
No,
really part
it
of my
doesn't.
problem because I'm not in such a low age group, but
No.
because we are, it's easy to be perfect. Anyone can be a monk when you don't have to deal with anyone. Anyone can be the perfect version of themselves when
That's it.
you're not faced with your triggers, right?
I've been saying that for a
And
while too. Yeah.
what the and one of the because I've been single for a long time, and I may end my life there. I'm trying to find someone who I can couple up with. It's not proving to be very successful for me, um, but my goal is to, because I think I owe it to myself, and I feel like we owe it to society, because that is really what the human species is hardwired to do.
Yeah.
And
Connect.
it's connect and negotiate and navigate. And it feels like there's becoming more and more opportunity to disconnect and not couple up. And
Hmm.
I don't think that that is helping. It's not helping the collective love of the
No, it's
universe.
not. No.
Um, and I think that is really one of the things that we have to strive for, is that unconditional love. That's really going to get us through a lot.
Yeah.
And and I feel like a lot of people are not are opting out, and that's it's sure it's easier. Is it right? Probably
No.
not.
Probably
So
not.
sorry to be. I mean, that was my little mother lecture to you there.
No, no, that's fine. No, I get it. No, we could talk forever, but it's just I like
Because
the. It's just like,
you're
just even if it's off topic or not, it's still talking about creating mindset in a sense, I
and
guess. But
it's
yeah.
I'm not. Are we meant to have lifelong relationships? I don't know.
Hmm.
I think you should have them as long as they work out.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like you start to see some of the triggers that it's so easy to not worry about when you're not dealing with them, or not they're
Yeah.
not on your radar, and that doesn't make it right.
No, it
So
doesn't.
to navigate it as much for as long as you can, and if that ends up being for the rest of your life, hey, great. And as long as it's all still working out, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, I still keep trying. I keep plugging away. Wish me luck.
Good luck. Same here. I'm excited for 2024 regardless. It's
Me too.
well, I can't believe how much has happened in the last month, let alone,
Mm,
this whole year. So it's just coming down to the point where I'm excited. And I really hope a lot of other people are going to be excited too. Because
I hope so too. I have had premonitions in my life, that have come to fruition. One of them was when I was going to get married, and that came true. And I know that 62 for me is a big year. Um, so yeah, that's I'm going to be 62 in January. I know. Look at me go, eh?
you're
Almost
killing it.
I
You
am.
are. Yeah. 62 and look at you go. You're still learning, still going and growing.
Oh
I
my
love it. It's
gosh.
amazing. So thank you for
Get
that. Being 35, it's
yeah.
nice to, know that, even at the age of 62, you can still do these things. So for
Yeah, you
everyone out
can.
there, just know that it's never too late. Never ever think
Well,
it's too late for you to do something that have always wanted to do.
yes, because we are our harshest critic anyway,
Yeah, we
right?
are. Especially, I always think that, like, so a lot of the time we are, right? And a
Yeah,
lot of the times we base our decisions on what we're told because of what we've been told for so long. So
yeah. Society wise, scholastically, like there's so many outside forces that, yeah, are trying to tell you how to be, how to act, what
yeah,
what your goals should
it's all
be,
that noise.
yeah, yeah. They start young. I don't know if you listened to my last podcast about the dysfunctional females, but um, again, back to the male thing. So they have a term that they use in schools, their early year childhood education, and they call boys dysfunctional females. And what that means is, young girls go in, they sit at their desk, and they're like they're receptive, they're open to learning. And we used to have recess, and we'd navigate the play yard, and you'd play
Hmm.
games, you'd get hurt or whatever, and you'd come back into class. We don't seem to have that outlet for boys these days, and so then they are come in, they're really rambunctious and having a fidgety, have a hard time settling. So then they go and get diagnosed with ADD or
Hmm.
ADHD, and they're drugged down, and the drug down makes them compliant like females. That's why they call them dysfunctional females. So
Interesting.
for young boys, it starts really really early in shaping, molding, and stripping away some of the aspects of manhood that are hardwired in, and it's not to anyone's benefit.
Mm.
Yeah,
No, none.
no. So go out there and mentor, because people need you.
Yes, I will. And I'm not going to
Yeah,
stop doing what I do. So I do really appreciate being on your podcast. So thank you for the invite once again. And yeah, I'm
my
just going to
pleasure.
continue just to be there for a lot of people because I know during a time like now, we got to build each other up and we got to be
we
there for
we
one another.
do.
But we also have to still be there for ourselves. But we gotta be there for everyone as much as
We
we
do.
don't
We
like.
and I feel like, for me, I feel like I am here to be of service.
Hmm.
That's been, it's for a couple of years now. It feels like for me it is something. My next part of my life is being of service to others, helping society. And I know that for me, like I said, so it is, your life is what you see. It is what you manifest. Although I don't like that word so much, but
Hmm.
what you envision, what you want to see is the world that you're going to see.
Yeah,
And
what you put
the
in is what you get out.
what you put in, you get out. And the unconditional love part is what we need as a collective, because that judgy, harsh, um, self-loathing, all that stuff, that the hate that's out there is the hate that's manifesting in many big ways. And
It
so
is. Yeah.
the only way we can combat that, we won't be able to outmuscle anyone that has big guns or whatever, like this. So it'll have to be an internal job. And that's what I feel like each one of us, it's our responsibility to fix us, and that fixes the collective.
It does. It
Because
does. But yeah,
there are
it
people
begins
that
with
are,
you.
it is only you. And there are people that won't have the insight or to be able to do that. And so if I feel like if I do that for myself, I'm doing that for the world. That's my contribution to the collective, is
Very
fixing
good.
myself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us should start building that mindset, start
Mhm.
challenging ourselves, start because I love is like the synonym for acceptance, right? It's and
Yeah.
a lot of us don't accept even ourselves, let alone anybody else, right? So once we start to accept ourselves and we start to, kind of like not care so much about those burdens in our past and all that stuff, and overcome those obstacles and persevere them in a sense that where we're going, we're now going in a state of mind where now we can build this up. We can have that unconditional love because we built that
Hmm.
acceptance within ourselves.
Here it's just over an hour. So I
Awesome.
appreciate all the time that you've dedicated to this conversation today.
For sure, Jennifer. Thank you so much for having me and have a wonderful
My
day and
pleasure.
enjoy your time out by the lake. Okay.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.